Hello, Life Transform community.
Do you ever feel compelled to make the world a better place, but you feel like maybe you don't have enough time, energy, or really money to make the impact?
Well, in today's video, we are going to talk about random acts of kindness. And we're actually going to go over 5 of those. And they're going to be simple, cost effective, and things that you can pay forward. How cool is that?
I love that. I love paying it forward. That's been a motto of mine for a long time, and it's served me well. So, number one, I really think with the digital currency that we have now, online gift cards are a great way to pay it forward. This is something that I did around the holidays this year. I have a lot of friends who are like me. They love drinking coffee. So, places like Starbucks and all the other little coffee shops have opportunities for you guys to get a gift card online and just simply put in your friend's email, send it on over. And how great is it to open your phone and see like, oh, I've got a free coffee just waiting for me because somebody thought about me.
I love that. Just dovetailing exactly what you're talking about. Shopping local, something that I love to do. I work pretty hard, so I get focused, and then I need a recharge time. I call it a recharge time. So for me, it's kind of cool to go to some local establishments. And here in Asheville, there are a lot of little local boutique places. So not only can you go there and, get gifts that are locally inspired for people, right? But when you go, you can provide a smile to the clerk there. You can have a conversation with the people that are also shopping in the store, especially in these times. I'll go up in a store and I won't have a mask on, and they usually let me in and people will have masks on and I'll just be smiling at them, and you can tell they really like it. But you can do this in for any occasion, just to touch base with somebody and give them a random gift from a local place. Like I moved here from Nebraska, as you know, Sybil. Didn't know anybody here, so a lot of my friends are back in the Midwest. So for me to be able to randomly send something from the mountains of Carolina, I'm sure people would really appreciate that. And it doesn't cost a lot. It just takes a little bit of extra effort to do that. So I love it. I love that.
I love that little extra mile of just that effort, because it's really letting people know that you're thinking about them. And I mean that truly beyond what the gift is. It's really that acknowledgement of like, this person thought of me and they took the time to do this special thing for me, whether it's for a special occasion or just for a random act of kindness. And on that note of making things personable, whether it's a conversation or a smile, another thing that I feel like is kind of a lost art that is being brought back: handwritten notes. Whether it's something that you hand to somebody or you pop it in the mail. There's so many fun stamps that you can get now. I love going and meeting new stamps because they always have fun designs that you can choose that really relate to your style. But a handwritten note really goes a long ways and shows somebody that not only did you think of them, but you took time out of your day. And time is really one of our most valuable resources. We all have the same amount of time, not enough, right? But when you give that time and you put that into taking out a pen, maybe you're like me and you like to use different colors and kind of put some stickers on there. I'm a sucker for stickers, so I like to go to local shops and find their fun stickers, tying in what you just said there. But to take that time, make that effort, and kind of do it pen pal style too. Most people will write you back, so then it can be even more special like that. But I think handwritten notes go a long ways in just letting people know that, you're thinking of them, taking that time out of your busy day. We're all so busy now. Take some time to get unbusy and get intentional and just think about somebody. And maybe you share a past memory that you guys have had. Maybe you grew up together. Maybe it's somebody random. Maybe it's somebody you see in passing, throughout your day-to-day life. Maybe it's your barista that you go and get coffee from at the local shop. But doing those little things go a really long ways. And I think it's that special touch of acknowledgement and time spent.
Oh, I love that so much. As you were even sharing that tip, Sybil, it does a lot for you. The one that's doing the handwritten note, because it forces you to slow down, right, in this fast-paced world.
Totally.
And I know when I've done that, like I did a handwritten note for Alana here a little while back, a little card, I just wrote everything out. And that touched her more than anything, than
Okay.
going to buy a card or giving her a text or whatever it may be. And it made me feel good. And it made me feel like, wow, I'm really putting some thought into this versus just like a random text. We're so used to
Yep.
just communicating on the fly. So the beauty of that one is it not only impacts the person who receives it, but the giver as well. And I think it can be something that, and I love the pen pal idea too. That's true, because if I got a handwritten note, I'd be like, dang, I want to send them one too.
Yeah.
You probably get on this little deal going back and forth. And that's really good. I heard another guy talk about, this will be an extra bonus tip here. I was reading a book once, and he uses voice clips as a way to do that random act of kindness. Just record your voice and send it to somebody via text or email, and just something about hearing the voice and just giving them, which leads right into number 4. I'm going to talk about compliments, right? So you can give people a compliment using a voice text. It's so simple. You guys, it's so simple. You could give out as many people as you see today, depending on when you're watching this, if it's morning, afternoon, evening. The number of people that you're going to see in the next 24 hours, that's the number of compliments you can give out. I don't care what it is. You see somebody, they're dressed well, or you saw them smile, or whatever. Just giving somebody a compliment. Especially I was in the corporate world for a lot of years, and that gets very political. But I would always make a point. I was transferred around 10 different places in 20 years. So I'd always go to this new environment, and they'd always want to meet all the big shots and do all this stuff. But I'd spend like my first couple of days just going out and talking to the janitors and talking to the people on the floor that do the work, and just connecting with them, and just complimenting them on whatever I saw in their environment, or how they saw them, or how I saw them do what they're doing. And people, if you haven't done this, just go out today and compliment somebody. Look them in the eye and give them a compliment. Genuine. It can't be something phony. Like if you think they look all jacked up, you can't say, "Oh, you look wonderful today." It's got to come from the heart, right? It's got to be genuine. But go and do that and watch the reaction you're going to get. Oh my gosh, it is amazing. And we like to say that we are providing the light for this dark world out there. So when we can go and leave anybody that we encounter a little bit better off than when they first encountered us, that's what we're called to do. And that's what I love about this one, just giving a compliment. I love it.
Yeah. And it doesn't cost any money. It's totally free. And it really does. It makes them feel good, and it makes you feel good. And it goes back to those little acknowledgments of noticing, taking that little bit of time. That's even less time than it takes to write a handwritten note. If you're actually just like paying attention to somebody and seeing people. I think we get so lost in the hustle and bustle a lot of times that we forget to just see people. And we get tunnel visioned into what our lives have us doing here, there, and everywhere. And
Yes.
taking those time. I love, lots of ladies get their nails done. And so it's like, I don't know why, but I'm always looking at it, because we're using our hands to exchange money and things like that. So it's something I see often is people's nails, and I always make it a point to comment on it because I do think it looks really cool. Like they have all these fun little designs done, and it's like, they took the time out to go and do that, and it makes them feel good to get their nails done. But then you notice it, whether you get a new haircut, it's somebody you work with, seeing that people notice when things change about you means that they're seeing you. And so that is great in itself and helps to restore a little bit of faith in humanity, knowing that, people are seeing you. So another free way to really help to just make the world a brighter place, like you had said, Bob, is just saying prayers for people. Whether people believe in God or not, most people are open to receiving prayer. And it's one of the simplest yet most life-changing ways that we can impact another person's life. And once again, it just comes right back to that intentionality, taking that bit of time and putting them in the path of of prayer. And I really think that whether you pray it on your own and they don't even know you're praying for them, whether you pray with them, a lot of people are open to that, whether they have a, current relationship with God or not. So many people are willing to take on that prayer and know that somebody who loves them and is thinking about them and cares about them, cares enough to send out a prayer of well wishes, good health, happiness, whatever it may be. So it's really a great way for us to practice a little bit of obedience to God and just practice our courage a little bit.
Yeah, and you know what, Sybil, I have never, and I've done that several times, and I've never had anybody react negatively, it's never been an issue, because I think we have we call them e-groups here. So we have at a meeting here at our house. We do it every week, and we're talking about the power of prayer. The question was, what is the impact of prayer? And this one lady who was basically told she was going to die. She had this autoimmune disease. She's down 100 pounds. She's been bedridden. She said, well, what do you do? She didn't believe in God, but she said, what do you do when you get that kind of news? You call your mom and then you pray. She said, I don't even know who I was praying to, but I was just praying, and that's it. I think that's a natural inclination. So if you, as Sybil said, if you just go out and somebody's going through a tough time or even a good time, people think, oh, only pray for things are bad, but things are good. Say, man, let's pray about that. That's amazing that happened, So I love that. And another freebie, by the way, right? We talked about these would be cost-effective ways to, showing like random acts of kindness and paying it forward. And, when you do things like we've been describing here, the 5 things that we've talked about, people will tend to, we've heard the butterfly effect, right? If you leave somebody with a little bit of a better mindset, right? They're going to pass that on to somebody else, the next person that they encounter. And that creates this, this faith in humanity and restoring faith in humanity for somebody that may not even be there in the moment. So I think what we want to do, what I'd love to do now is maybe each tell a story about one of these situations from our lives. How does that sound to you, Sybil?
That sounds great.
All right. Well, you want to start? Or you want me to start?
Sure, I can go ahead.
All right.
So, and it's one of these, the handwritten note part is really something that I've practiced since I was a kid. Because, when you're kids, you don't have a lot of monetary ability to provide gifts and those sort of things. And I always liked making that impact. And it always felt good to me to give something to other people, whether it was a handmade craft, I'm kind of a crafty gal, or a handwritten note. And it was something that I practiced throughout my personal relationships, and I still do it to this day. I love doing it around birthdays. Obviously, my boyfriend for Valentine's Day, I just made him, I crafted the card. We actually went to a fun little get together. We crafted cards together, but then I used stickers and I wrote in it and gave it to him, and it was great. It felt really good. And I know he likes to receive that. He keeps a lot of them. I keep a lot of my handwritten cards because someday when I'm old and gray and I want to remember some of those things, it's nice to just have those. But it reminds me of a woman who I used to clean for. Her name was Virginia, and she was such a sweet soul. She had a pen pal from over in Europe, and she lived here in the States. And it was always really cool to hear the stories that she would tell me about their different exchanges and conversations, and practicing that. Whether it's somebody who lives down the street and you see all the time, or somebody who does live far away, whether you know them or you're just seeking out an opportunity to really connect with people and get to know people better. She practiced it so beautifully, and they had a wonderful relationship where when that woman would come over to the States, she always had a place to stay, and vice versa. When Virginia would go over to Europe, she would have a place to stay, show her around to local attractions, and just give her that experience. And it was such a mutual, beautiful thing. And I mean, Virginia was in her 90s, her late 90s, when I had this relationship with her, where I got to clean, and she would tell me all these awesome stories. And it was so inspiring to me. So it really helped keep my flame lit, and knowing that when I do these things, it is really when I'm taking time out to write, whether it's a simple little card or a more, in-depth letter, depending on your relationship with the person, you can really impact people for a lifetime and inspire other people to do that. And maybe then they do wind up having pen pals or carrying that tradition on with their children or whatever it may be. I just think it's really cool to take that time out. And for me, it's fun. I know maybe not everybody thinks that it's fun to doodle and, you know, use different colored pens and get in your craft drawer and get the stickers out and all that fun stuff. But for me, it's a way to be playful, to create, and to be intentional about my relationships and letting people know that I'm thinking about them, that I care about them, that I love them, that I want to get to know them better, all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, that one's really just something that I feel really connected to, and it's totally free aside from the cost of a stamp, which, you know, isn't a whole lot these days.
I love it. I love it. Well, I'll share a quick one. Just going into the local market here, and the butcher, the guy was getting some meat or whatever, and you tell he was kind of like, no, he's kind of like, you know, like that. So I'm like, dude, what's going on? You don't seem like you're in a good, well, and he just let me have it. Well, I wanted to be a policeman and I couldn't get in because there's this thing on my record and da 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 da. So now I'm just stuck here doing this. The money's good, but and he was like really negative. I'm like, dude, tell me what you loved about being a policeman. So he started telling me all the things he loved to do. I'm like, what's to say you couldn't do that? Create your own job and just do that. And he looked at me. I won't tell you the whole story, but he literally is like, I'm walking away after this conversation with him, and the next lady, he was helping her, and he goes, that guy, talk to him. That was amazing. And he was just so fired up. So, I mean, that right there is, you know, if you see somebody grumpy, don't like put the grump back to them and just give your grump. Be positive, right? And ask them about them, and you can turn them around. You know?
Totally.
It's so good. So, you guys, that wraps it up for today. We love you guys. I want you to subscribe with the notification bell to receive regular updates from us here at Life Transform.
And if you found this video to be helpful, you liked hanging out with us, hit that like button and you'll be able to see more.
And comment down below too. This can be with questions or comments or whatever, because we want to see your comments.
Yeah, I would actually love to see if there's something that you guys that is not on our list that you guys like to practice as a random act of kindness to help restore, you know, faith in humanity. Put it in the comments. We'd love to check those out and engage with you guys and maybe share more ideas to add on to this list. So that's all from us. We'll see you guys next time on the journey from isolation to community, where freedom awaits beyond.
See ya.